Listening to Clearview Today with Dr. Abadan Shah, the daily show that engages mind and heart for the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm Ryan Hill.
I'm John Galantis.
You can find us online at clearviewtodayshow.com, or if you have any questions for Dr. Shah or suggestions for new topics, send us a text at 252-582-5028, or you can email us at contact@clearviewtodayshow.com.
That's right, and you can help us keep the conversation moving forward by supporting the show. You can share it online with your friends and your family. Leave us a good 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasting content from. Absolutely nothing less than 5 stars. We're going to leave a link right there in the description so you can do just that.
That's nice.
That's
nice.
It's
very
very
considerate
nice to me. It's very demure.
Very thoughtful. Very mindful.
Very mindful. What
Very
is that, by the
cutesy.
way? You've been saying that for like
Very
the better part
cutesy,
of 2 weeks.
Very mindful.
I Googled
Very
very
demure.
demure, and I saw like a bunch of TikTok people claiming that they started it. What is it?
It's a TikTok trend.
Very demure.
Yeah.
Very mindful.
It's see how I sit here and lead this radio show. I don't do too much like these other radio show hosts. Very cutesy. Very mindful. Very demure.
I'm about to do too much.
Here comes
Oh, yeah!
Gosh.
$1 Million Monday!
Rest in peace, headphone users.
Hey! Yeah, they've asked me over there at the Truth Network. They've actually
Please
asked
stop
me
yelling into the
to
microphone.
stop yelling into the microphone. $1 million, Ryan. But
Yeah.
every single time you text your wife, and for all you ladies out there, for if you text your husband, $1 million. But
Yeah.
every single time you text your spouse,
Yeah.
it gets copied and pasted and goes to a random person in your contacts.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I don't like that.
So Elizabeth will get, hey, what's for dinner tonight? But also so will like your college roommate.
Sure.
Elizabeth will get, hey, where's the hemorrhoid cream? But your dad might get it too. It just goes to a random
Yikes.
person in your contacts.
If I call her, what happens?
If you call her, it's all good.
Oh, so the
It's
call
just-
doesn't get like routed like three-way call. They're just looped into the
I'll tell
phone
you
conversation.
what, I'll give you another $500,000 for that. Yeah. So 1.5, but the call gets routed too. Any call with her turns into a 3-way call. But or if you just want the regular million, it's just for a text message. Like think about
yeah, you know what? I'll take the 1.5.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah, and
Yep.
you'll just be super careful on the phone.
Yep. I'll take it.
Like this is a Christian radio show, so we're not going the obvious route that you guys would think of. But I mean, think about all the other embarrassing stuff that you text your wife. Like, oh my
yeah,
goodness.
100%. Like we'll be like talking about people, we'll be spilling tea.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But my stomach was so tore up after I just ate whatever. Like your 3rd grade teacher will be like, who? Like if you happen to have her in your contacts
I don't
for some
have her
reason,
in my contacts.
or whoever. Like it's like
Actually,
someone
you
in the
know what?
church-
I do have my 3rd grade teacher in
No
my
way.
contacts because it's my mom.
No, it's your mom.
I was homeschooled in 3rd grade, so it turns out my 3rd grade teacher is in my contacts.
Fair enough.
I would take that.
I
Yeah.
think I would also take it. You just got to be careful because you don't know who it's going to.
Right.
So let me. I'm gonna play Russian roulette with my contacts right now. Let's see. Give me a name. Or I'm sorry. Give me a letter of the alphabet.
L.
All right, L. It would go to Leo Green, my bass player.
Which would probably be fine.
Would be fine. Yeah, the bass
Would probably
player
be
here on there.
fine.
But it could also go to I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of else. I guess I just got Leo Green. I got some other people, but most of these people, I don't even remember who these people are. You ever look at your contacts and you're like,
Often.
Who-
yes.
who
I'm
is
like,
this person?
I don't even remember. Like, I'll look at the notes of how I know that person. I'm like, I don't remember this
I
at
don't know
all.
who this is.
Yeah.
I would also take the money.
Yeah.
I would also take the money. $1
It
million.
would be dicey. I mean, you'd have to like really pay attention to what you're texting, but I would take it.
Yeah,
And saying on the
So
phone.
you would take the $1.5 million?
Yeah, I would take
like
it.
Phone calls get.
I would take it.
They're
I
in
think
it.
what I would do is I would be like, remind me I have to tell you something later. And then when I see her in person, I'll be like,
But then,
guess what?
But then you also have that person because they just get the text, so they don't just ignore it. Like your college roommate would text back like, "What do you need to tell me later?"
I'm sorry, that was meant for somebody else.
But that's every text to your wife, though. You every text to your wife now turns into 2 texts.
yeah, I think I would just like stop texting her.
Yeah, hopefully they would just block you. Like if they.
I
keep
would
getting-
hope so. Like,
if
what is this?
Yeah, like if people, but it's always a random person though.
Yeah.
So I don't know that they would.
I don't know.
I would take it.
I wonder if Dr. Shah has like, I think 5 times as many contacts in his phone as I do.
Yeah, that's true. And I think he texts his wife a lot.
Yeah.
That would be rough. But I think he would still do it.
Maybe.
Let's see.
Write in and let us know if you take that deal. 252-582-5028. Or you can visit us online at clearviewtodayshow.com. We'll be back after this.
Hey, what's going on, listeners? My name is John.
And I'm Ellie.
And we just want to take a second and let you know about Dr. Shah's new book on the market right now called Can We Recover the Original Text of the New Testament? Boy, that is a long title.
True, but it's a very simple message. The original text of the New Testament is not only attainable, but there are lots of different ways that scholars go about discovering it.
There's a lot of people out there saying that the original text is lost forever, or that it's hopeless to actually try to find it, or that there's many texts of the New Testament. But alongside Dr. David Allen Black, Dr. Shah has actually compiled papers from some of the world's leading experts in textual criticism, including one written by himself on various methodologies for extracting the original text. And listen, if you're interested in textual criticism, this book is a great introduction to the field.
You can pick up your copy on Amazon, or you can buy it from our church website. That's clearviewbc.org. We're going to leave a link in the description box so you can get your copy today.
Love that. Ellie, let's hop back in.
Let's do it.
Welcome back to Clearview Today with Dr. Abadan Shah, the daily show that engages mind and heart for the gospel of Jesus Christ. You can visit us online at clearviewtodayshow.com, or if you have any questions or suggestions for new topics, send us a text to 252-582-5028.
That's right, and we're here once again in the Clearview Today studio with Dr. Abadan Shah, who's a PhD in New Testament textual criticism, professor at Carolina University, author, full-time pastor, and the host of today's show. You can find all of his work on his website. That's abadanshah.com. Dr. Shah, we text a lot. You know, we've got a group thread for the staff, a group thread for you and I, group thread for the radio guys. We call it the Radio Boys chat.
That's right.
Our little silly threads, all this kind of stuff.
We're texty.
Yeah, we like to text a whole lot.
Sure.
But then sometimes you text your wife, Nicole, right? And you just got a text between you and her.
Right.
Well, I'm going to give you $1 million.
Okay.
But any text that you send to her or that she sends to you
So wild.
also gets sent to a random person in your contacts.
Nope.
What? That quickly?
Immediately no.
No.
For $1 million? Hold on.
There's some text like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that.
but you can call her.
Or you should not have started that.
But you can call her.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Not everything is my fault. I don't want people to read that.
But it's just, so it's not people, it's just a random person. So it might go to one might go to Nicholas. One might go to your friend from India in the 3rd grade. Oh. One might go to
I'll have to be like, on the phone, we do not text about anything
right. Yes,
other
that's
than
person communication.
You can alter the way
uplifting biblical gospel presentation.
None of this like, where's my foot cream? None of
The
this.
Lord has a plan for
none
your
of that. Like, I'm sorry, but you started this.
I think we could make it work if you just you gotta catch it. You gotta be really mindful of what it is.
Like if you typing it out and you're like, hold up.
I'm a jerk? No.
Am
Let's
I
not
okay
go
with-
there.
This could, and it's
Am
only
I okay
people,
with anybody reading
It's
this?
only people in your contacts. But I
Yeah.
imagine you got a lot of. Can you see the number of people in your contacts? Can you see how many contacts you
I
have?
think you can. I
Let's
think you
see.
can
How
see
many?
the number
I
of
can see
contacts.
mine. Mine is
Wow.
I have.
I don't know how you see the number of people.
Gosh, it says I have few duplicates here.
Yeah, there's a
Not
bunch.
that much. How do you find out how
I
many?
see it. Okay, so
All
you go to
contacts.
all contacts up at the top. So go to your contacts
Okay.
and then hit the top left button. So all contacts minus 385.
Oh, okay. So I have 2,000.
Oh my goodness.
Really? Is that a lot?
I mean, I have 385.
I have just over 600.
Oh, I have 2,000, and if I take away the 100 duplicates, I have 2,500.
How many people do y'all know?
I hope a lot.
I mean,
All right.
Most of the time, if I ever interact with somebody and I foresee future interactions, saved.
So
yeah.
okay, so $1 million. We say we're not taking the money on that one.
I mean, I can. I just have to have an agreement with Nicole.
Yeah. We don't text anymore.
We don't text other than gospel presentation.
Exactly.
Send yourself little verses of the day.
Exactly.
Speaking of
verse of the day, that was a nice segue there, my friend. Good job.
I do what I can.
Yeah.
Verse of
Can
the
I tell
day.
you something? Completely did not mean to.
Well, hey.
That was an accident.
What? Sometimes happy accidents make for the best segues.
There you go. That's what Bob Ross said.
The verse of the day today comes from 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 16. For if I preach the gospel, I have nothing to boast of, for necessity is laid upon me. Yes, woe is me if I do not preach the gospel.
Yep.
The only thing we boast in is the cross of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Amen.
I'm learning that more and more is the importance of focusing on the gospel.
Yeah.
Don't focus on yourself. Don't focus on your regrets. Don't focus on your fears. Focus on the gospel. focus on the gospel.
That's right. There's this is something else I didn't plan, this shameless plug that I'm about to do, but there's a song on our upcoming album that actually it focuses on, I think that's one of the key verses of that song, is that I boast in nothing except the cross of Jesus Christ. It was only, so it's called The Battle Stains of Calvary. It was written by Dr. Shah, David, and myself, and that was the key verse, was that our boast is only in your cross. There's tons and tons of things that we could boast about, but let's boast about Jesus and the cross.
And your grandmother, right?
She wrote, yes. So that song came from...
You forgot your own grandmother?
Well, so here's why. I'm sorry, Granny. Rest in peace. Here's why I forgot about it. Because she wrote it as a poem in the 70s. It was like there was no melody to it.
That's a big deal.
Yes.
And you just like completely...
That's one of my favorite details about that song. I love
Like
the fact that your grandma wrote it.
Granny off the turnip truck.
I'm so sorry.
See you, Grandma.
So she wrote it as like a poem.
I love the young people.
I love the young people. She did write it as a poem in the 70s, and we took it, and I found it after her funeral. I found that in a big list of songs and hymns and poems that she'd written, and we turned it into The Battle Stains of Calvary. The first verse, and I think the chorus survived, and everything else was original.
That's
which is
so
why
sweet.
I said that.
That's such a great detail. I love that.
it
I had
was.
a chance to meet your grandmother
Yes.
in the hospital. She was having some health issues,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, I think she.
But then she ended up living a couple of years after that, right?
She lived 2 more years after that. I think she was suffering from pneumonia. She came close, but then she recovered.
Yeah.
And then died, I think, 2 years after
And
that.
she sang while you were there in the hospital.
She told me about it, and I remember there was a video of you meeting with her.
I filmed it.
Yeah.
You still have the video?
I've got it somewhere. I saved it. But I remember she was like, I just want to thank God. She had Dr. Shaw's hand for this good Christian man. This Christian man who come to see me in the hospital. That was her. Anything 100% 24/7 Jesus. That was all she knew. She was the type of I'll say that she was the type of
elderly
granny
person.
Yeah, she was the type of granny
Not
who.
old. Don't say old lady.
No, she was not the old lady. She couldn't hear at all.
Yeah.
So people would be talking. We'd be having a party or a get together, and people would just be talking, but she couldn't hear, so she would just sit in the corner and sing hymns real loud.
Oh,
That's all she would do.
Like was she trying to get everybody's attention?
I think so.
So she would just have her own little preaching on the end times as well.
Beautiful Rose of Sharon. He's coming back one day, Stephanie. He's coming. That is not a fairy tale.
But hey, so we're gonna
He's
go
coming
shopping
back
and y'all see that. You got it, Granny. So we're gonna be. Hey, we need to go see that movie one day.
Granny, why don't you come lay down, Granny? Come on.
He's
Come
good
on.
to me all
Come
the
on,
time.
come on, let's
going to lay
we'll
down.
go get-
I'm
go get
getting
you a
ready
biscuit. Come
to
on.
leave this world.
So your granny was the type where if the attention is not on her, she would get it.
She'd get it and then masquerade
I understand.
it. She would masquerade it as
That's Gavin.
That's Gavin.
about to say
That's
that.
my son.
It all comes back around.
But she would masquerade it as let's put the attention on Jesus. That was the mask.
I'm just the conduit.
That was the mask. But we knew. We were like, Granny, you ain't fooling nobody. You are not in the mood to worship. I'm getting ready to leave this world. My Lord. That was what she would do all the time. 100%.
It was a good, sweet.
Oh,
Oh,
we
yes.
love that.
Oh, yes.
Godly lady.
Rest in peace.
That's awesome.
What a verse of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Clearview Current, where we cut through the chaos of today's headlines with a clear Christian perspective. We're here to keep you up to date on what's going on in the world, big or small.
Speaking of the passing of icons, last week, James Earl Jones.
I know.
Couldn't believe it. We were
right.
we were in Washington D.C.
That's
we
right.
We were on a church trip, and we had just gotten back from doing some filming on the mall, and we went to the hotel. It was like an hour between the hotel and going to dinner.
Right.
And they came in. James Earl Jones passed away
That's
at
right.
Yeah.
90 something.
90, it was 93.
Wow.
Yeah.
The iconic bad father and good father.
We went to dinner and we were talking
Both
about it.
ends of the spectrum.
And he said,
Yeah.
I can't think, other than maybe The Sandlot, I can't think of a movie where he wasn't a bad father or the best father.
Yeah.
But it's only Lion King is the best father. All the others, he was like just a bad,
Bad
father.
father.
Darth Vader.
Bad
Of course. 100%.
Bad father.
Bad father.
Tulsa Doom.
Bad father.
father.
Conan
Not
the
good.
Barbarian.
Not good.
Fences. He was a bad father.
Yeah.
That was a play.
Yeah,
It
I didn't
was a
see
play,
that
right?
one.
Yeah, it was a
didn't
play
see
with
that
James Earl Jones. He was a bad father.
Yeah.
He was not a good dude. Now I think he was a good dude in the sense that he was like setting his son up for success, but definitely bad husband. And I'd
Wow.
say thereby bad father. Yeah.
Wasn't there I feel like there was some Mandela effect thing where people thought he died years ago.
I don't know.
I feel like there was some rumor going
people
around like
thought
James
he
Earl
was
Jones is
dead.
dead.
He was not.
Yeah, no, he was still
Like,
alive
I'm
and
still
kicking.
here, people.
He was narrating the Bible. So have y'all seen where James Earl Jones narrates the Bible?
No, I
Yes.
didn't know that happened.
Yeah.
But this was back in the 80s that he did that, right? Or 90s?
Oh man.
I don't know when it was. I can look up when it was.
I feel
Yeah.
like I said that once. I was like, I would love to listen to the Bible
The
narrated by
researcher
James Earl Jones.
will step
yeah, see when
to
he
his
see when
job
see when
and
he did
find
that.
something instead
Yeah.
of
Look at it. Yeah, he's back
picking
there
his
like,
nose.
but he definitely did. I remember being, I don't want to say annoyed, but I wanted it. I wanted James Earl Jones narrating the Bible, but it was King James.
Yeah.
And I was like, well,
Well, Alexander Scourby, I think, did the one that was very famous. But James Earl Jones also did read the Bible. I don't know which version that he did. Alexander Scourby did the King James, and that's, I think, going back in the 80s, I want to say.
Oh wow.
The iconic voice. But James Earl Jones's narration of the Bible, I think, came after that. Definitely came after that.
Yes.
Which version, what time period I'm not sure.
Yeah.
yeah, so it is, he definitely did, James Earl Jones definitely did King James.
Okay.
It was
And
King
it was
James.
when?
Yeah, the one that I have is James Earl Jones Reads the Bible, King James Version, and it's 03. Was the release
2003.
date.
2003.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that long ago.
Yeah, yeah. Alexander Scourby goes back, I want to say, the 80s. And that's the one that I had taped. Since when I used to travel, like for work purposes, this is back in the mid-90s, I used to listen to the Bible on cassette. And it was all King James. That's the only one that was available at the time.
Right.
And I copied these cassettes, and I would listen to them.
Wow.
Wow.
How do you copy a cassette?
I mean, you had a cassette player, dual cassette players.
Oh, you just
So
did
tape to
one.
tape.
Okay. Wow. That was really cool.
Yeah, I'd had the whole Bible recorded, and I would play it.
Wow.
Listen to it all the way.
Did he have a voice similar to James Earl Jones? Was it like the deep and booming?
It's kind of like the one that gives the warm fuzzies
Okay.
to your grandparents.
Right, right.
Like, now that's God.
Not the time where it's
God
like,
speaking.
not the
Oh
time
my.
where it's like, dude, Darth Vader is actually reading the Bible. How cool is this? In the beginning.
God created. I can't even do it.
So do you? What do you when you hear that voice? Do you think Mufasa or do you think Darth Vader?
It depends. It depends on what is being said. Most of the time, if I hear that voice, I'm gonna think Mufasa because I don't really think Darth Vader unless the breathing is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
But that cadence and that sound, like in he was in an episode of The Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
And every time I heard him speak, I was like, "That's Mufasa. That's Mufasa."
Yeah, he there's a line he says, "I got a Lion King check, a residual check burning a hole in my pocket." It's kind of funny. Well, I don't know if it's funny or weird, but they have a thing where they captured his voice using AI.
Did they really?
And now they don't have to recast Darth Vader. They can recreate it. They did that for Kenobi. For the show, that wasn't
Really?
James Earl. To my
Wow.
knowledge, what I heard was that wasn't James Earl Jones. That
Yeah.
was AI recreating his voice.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. He'll
Does it
live
have
up
any
to
kind
that.
of effects like the hands that AI cannot reproduce or something?
the,
Or the teeth?
the what?
I'm sick and tired of seeing pictures on Facebook, social media, with
I'm so done with AI pictures.
I am so sick of
Yeah,
it.
that's
And
crazy.
who has time to do this? Like, check out this young couple that is now 55 years married, and we look at this like, oh my goodness, wow.
Yeah, they have 17 fingers on one hand. Like what?
Why? What is that? What is with that?
I don't know. It doesn't make
AI
any
does
sense.
not do fingers well. It
No.
does not do people at a distance well either. I mean, if you look at a crowd shot that's AI generated, people have all kinds of misshapen. It's like
that
crayons
makes
that started
sense.
melting.
That's at the Kamala Harris's crowd. That's
Yeah,
what happened.
of course. Yeah, they
AI
just
generated.
But
Yep.
but you know what? They actually a lot of them look like that though. That's what's crazy.
I hate that for them.
Yeah, freaks and geeks. So a lot of people didn't know that he was Catholic, that he was a Christian.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the things that because it was like why James Earl Jones
Yeah.
and reading the Bible, and a lot of people didn't know that after serving in the Korean War, he actually
okay.
converted.
So he was a
Catholicism.
veteran. I didn't know that either.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that either. Wow.
Yeah, he was in the
James Earl Jones.
Vietnam or Korean, but I think Korean War. I think that's what I read
Probably
yesterday.
Korean.
Yeah.
If he is 93, definitely Korean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But converted to Catholicism. It was crazy because we were talking about how we were kind of joking around about how every movie he's in he portrays a bad father. Like maybe there's some father issues there, and I don't think that's really uncommon. You know what I mean? I think
Yeah.
it's a trope that many of us. The reason we keep seeing it in films is because so many of us have experienced that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I cannot stand the dumb father or the butt of the joke father in media.
Yeah.
Dad's either reduced to just a blowhard. He's just angry all the time. He blows up at everybody, or he's he's useless. He's kind of the village idiot.
Or you've got the really sinister dads like with television, like you've got the Tony Soprano types or the Walter White type, the Don Draper types, where it's like, okay, dad's smart, but dad's a moral, like, haunted lake.
Yeah,
like
he's a horrible person.
Horrible person.
Yeah, my life would have been so much better if he wasn't there.
Exactly. That's what we see.
Well, you see that a lot now. In fact, the other day I was just scrolling past somebody's little video, and this is like a produced video, like maybe TikTok. I don't have a TikTok account, but they had reposted a TikTok onto social media. I think Facebook or Instagram, cannot remember. And it was all about this guy talking about, you think you're a bad father? Let me tell you why you're not. And then gives 3 reasons. And I'm like, that right there pretty much made most of us bad fathers. Your children love to talk to you in public. It's like, well, that's not always the case.
Right.
Number 2, they come to you for advice on major decisions. I'm like, well, that's not always the case.
Not my children.
Number 3, I don't know what the number 3. I was at that point. I was like, I'm a bad father.
Is this supposed to be comforting at this point?
Yeah, because it's stuff that most any father would look at and be like, well, my kids, especially if they're teenagers, they're not going to do that.
They're not going to come to you. So I'm like, this dude just, and I don't know who he was, kind of like a religious leader who was doing that. And I was like, wow, that makes that completely lets the air out of you if you're a father, because that's not how life turns out.
And there's no biblical standard for that at all. Like, there's no evidence there.
This is how thou shalt know if your children had a good father.
Right.
Number 1, they talk to you randomly in public.
Like, I'm 32, and at this point in my life, I would consider my dad a great dad. I don't think I ever once asked him for like on serious matters, and I'm being dead serious. I don't think I've ever once been like, Dad, I got a real problem, man.
I need to talk to you.
I need to talk to you. I probably should have, but I didn't.
It happens, but I don't want us to unnecessarily fall for those kind of deflating, discouraging principles that people use to create this persona of a father who's like your children just coming, sitting by their father's feet and saying, Father, you just have touched my life.
Enlighten us with your wisdom, oh Father.
I think this man wanted that. Maybe it doesn't happen for him. But
I know, right? Yeah, he's living out his own fantasy through his like sermon or his TikTok or whatever.
Yeah, but he probably doesn't even happen for him.
Yeah.
But that is like sort of an epidemic that we see, like dads, portrayed as less than in media, portrayed as kind of bumbling, inept. Mom runs the show and dad's just kind of there, or if he's there at all. I feel like do you think that's a larger commentary on dads, or at least the view of dads in our culture?
Probably. This is going back to 1995. The book came out called Fatherless America, confronting our most urgent social problem. This was written by David Blankenhorn. And so 1995, that's about, almost 29 years ago?
Yeah, I think so.
29 years ago this book came out. And he said it in its introduction. He said, tonight, about 40% of American children will go to sleep in homes in which their fathers do not live.
Wow.
Before they reach the age of 18, more than half of our nation's children are likely to spend at least a significant portion of their childhoods living apart from their fathers.
Wow.
Never before in this country have so many children been voluntarily abandoned by their fathers. It's one thing, it puts in parentheses, if the father has died. Never before have so many children grown up without knowing what it means to have a father. Consider this prediction. After the year 2000, as people born after 1970 emerge as a large population, let me try that again. After the year 2000, as people born after 1970 emerge as a large proportion of our working age adult population, the United States will be a nation divided into 2 groups, separate and unequal. The primary fault line dividing the 2 groups will not be race, religion, class, education, or gender. It will be patrimony. One group will consist of those adults who grew up with the daily presence and provision of fathers. The other group will consist of those who did not. By the early years of the next century, these 2 groups will be roughly the same size.
Isn't that insane? That is incredible.
And then in chapter 12, David Blankenhorn writes, the most urgent domestic challenge facing the United States at the close of the 20th century is the recreation of the fatherhood as a vital social role for men. At stake is nothing less than the success of the American experiment.
That's hard hitting.
What I like about what he said is the daily presence and provision of fathers. So this gentleman who was going on and on about all these things that makes a great father, I was like, wow, well, by that definition, we are all doomed.
Yeah.
But daily presence and provision, what does that mean? That means fathers, and I understand there are some who are divorced now, or it didn't work out in your marriage and this had to happen. So this is not a mark against you. But if at all you can work it out with your spouse and keep your home intact, that's very important.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's one of the greatest gifts you can give your children.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's 100% true.
And what if it hasn't happened that way? What if, unfortunately, your children do not have mom and dad under the same roof? Okay, it's hard, it's tough. Find ways to help them get through life. And they'll tell you, Dad, I'm fine. You've been a great dad, and I'm grateful to you. But the fact that they don't have mom and dad under the same roof does make a difference.
That's true. That's 100%.
So encourage them not to make the mistakes you made. Come at them through an angle of love and compassion, wisdom and grace. Help them to find Christ the constant, who, even if that home no longer has mom and dad together, at least Christ can be there in that child's life.
Right.
Yeah.
And that will help them.
Yeah. One of the things that I've always appreciated about you and Nicole, and maybe we'll try to get Nicole on the show maybe sometime next week. I'd love to maybe get her opinion on this too. But one of the things I've always appreciated about you is, I know we were kind of joking around up top, but really you guys work on your marriage. Your marriage is something to be always built on and always improved on. And Ellie and I have seen that even before we've gotten married. I think especially a lot of young people going into that marriage and looking forward to fatherhood and motherhood one day, think it's something that you do and then you kind of just do for the rest of your life, rather than something you work on and build. And
you just exist as a father.
Right, yeah. You just kind of have your kids, teach them their colors and their shapes, and maybe teach them some Bible verses, but you don't think about growing alongside those kids with your spouse.
Yeah.
And I've always appreciated that about you guys.
And it's helpful to have, a dad to look to who is further along in that parenting journey. Like, I can go to my dad with some things, but there's a lot of parenting things that I've asked you about, Dr. Shah. Sure. And it's helpful to have someone who's on a similar trajectory in life that I can look to who is further down that trajectory than I am and say, what do I do here? What does this look like? What advice do you have for this situation?
Right. And I think if you can find people like that in your life and then be people like that for some other dad,
right,
is the key. Don't, and maybe you can, and I hope you do, become this exceptional dad who's always there cheerleading and being, if you can, God bless you, and you get a trophy for that.
Yeah.
But I know most dads cannot do that. Now, we were talking to our bus driver, and, he said, I said, do you have any regrets? I think somebody asked him that.
I think so, yeah.
Was it you?
It might have been, yeah, when we were at dinner.
Traveling, because he had to drive constantly as a truck driver and then had to drive as a bus driver. Do you have any regrets? I said, yeah, I couldn't be there for my children's games.
Yeah.
I couldn't be there.
I missed a lot.
So what do we do? So all truck drivers are failures as fathers?
Yeah, or you just set new standards. Listen, if you're not there for your kids' games, you're not a good dad. Yeah.
Or what do we do with military dads? I guess no Christians will go in the military.
Yeah, not happening.
So we have to find ways to go, okay, yeah, these are the hazards of the job. In ministry, there are hazards too. Right? There are hazards where you have to go, I cannot get off because I have a counseling session here, or I have a meeting here, or have a Bible study here. I got to prepare for this for tomorrow morning. There's a funeral or a wedding this weekend. I got to do these things. Does that mean I just go, not going to do it? I'm just going to stay and go watch my kids play every single time, everywhere they go?
Some people do, and I think they think that's the answer.
Yeah.
Blow off your responsibilities. Don't do it, because at the end of the day, this is priority number one.
And I hope it works for you. By all means, please do it. But if you make that the gold standard of being a dad, if you can, go for it, but I don't think that necessarily is biblical.
No,
Show me where in the Bible that says that's what you got to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not sustainable either.
It's not sustainable.
You can't
So
do
what
it
can you
forever.
do? Well, for one, make sure you work on your marriage. For them to see you love their mom the way you're supposed to is critical.
That's right.
Yes.
The way they see you follow Jesus Christ is critical. The way they see you apologize to them is critical. The way they see you show grace. You know, the Bible talks about fathers, don't provoke your children to wrath.
Right.
You know, yes, I think I've provoked them. And I'm sure you all have at different times done things that feel like I think I've provoked them. You know, maybe I was a hypocrite, or maybe I lost my temper, or maybe I had too high of an expectation, you know, whatever.
Right.
In those moments, learn to show kindness and forgiveness and seek forgiveness. I think those, I would say, are the biblical standards.
I agree. 100%.
And
You won't find that on TikTok, but you'll find it in Scripture. I promise
And at the
you
end
that.
of the day, it may not be immediately your kids are sitting by your feet going, Father, you are the good father.
It's who you are.
It's who you are.
It's who
It's
you
who you
are.
are. Yeah, but in the end, I think you will win if
That's
you
right.
do those things right.
Amen.
That's right. So good. If you guys enjoyed today's episode, write in and let us know, 252-582-5028, or you can visit us online at clearviewtodayshow.com. Don't forget, you can partner with us financially on that same website. Scroll to the bottom, click that donate button, and let us know it's coming from our Clearview Today Show family. Lots of great content coming your way the rest of this week. Make sure you guys tune in. We love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow on Clearview Today.